The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
All right, time for a fact that makes your brain just go. Now, I talked about a president that did something, and once he did it, every president after has done this. But every president before him had not done it. Are you ready for this? We had a lot of great guesses actually coming here. Wear facial hair, have facial hair. That's not it. Bill from Yorkville checked in. Brought a dog to the White House.
Okay.
No, not that. Personal transportation. President Taft was the first one to have a car. Someone checked in on me with that one.
Is President Taft the one that got stuck in the bathtub?
I don't think so.
He was a big guy, though, right?
I don't know much about Taft.
Oh, really? He's one of my favorites.
Is he?
I can't get enough of Taft. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure he got stuck in a bathtub.
Okay, check on that while I go through a few more here.
Yes.
Oh, Ronald Reagan started the Easter egg roll. No, that's not it. Ike added one nation under God to the Pledge of Allegiance, according to Jim, one of our listeners.
Oh, okay.
That's not what I'm talking about. Tabitha said pardon a turkey. No, that's not it either.
Wow.
What about, before I get you to the fact and who it was and who did it, did President Taft get stuck in a bathtub?
Thank you to the historychannel.com for providing this information. I will say Taft weighed over 350 pounds.
Big boy.
But
He's a thick boy.
he is a thick boy.
Was he tall?
No, he was round.
Everybody around there was like about 5'4".
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he was built like a rubber ball.
What years was he president?
Early 20th century, so about 100 years ago.
Okay.
But the quote on historychannel.com is that the bathtub in the White House was so big at the time that no president could possibly get stuck in it. Which, if that's not an example of wealth and one percenters, I don't know what is.
Sure.
So he didn't get stuck in a bathtub. The bathtub was too big for even a big guy to get stuck in it.
So it was urban myth.
Yes.
It was like fake news back then.
Do you think his family's pissed that for 100 years people have said he's been stuck in a bathtub?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Picture his he was president in 1909 to 1913.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's got great-great-grandkids or great-grandkids, whatever he has at this point, 100 years later. But, like, they go to a show to go see, like, Papa Roach, let's say.
I follow.
Yeah. And they go to the ticket counter and they go, yeah, we'll call a Taft. And they get their tickets. And then somebody said, oh, I just learned about your great-grandfather. He's the one that got stuck in a bathtub. And then you're sitting there going, basically you just go, no, it's just an urban myth that happened back then. He didn't get stuck in a bathtub.
That's too bad. You know, Taft was from Cincinnati, so maybe he has family here. And in the same way that we've had the relatives of Evel Knievel and Dick Butkus call the show that they listen.
Right.
I'd be so pissed if I was his great-grandkid listening to Brian and Kenzie, and you got to hear him be smeared all over town again.
Hey, look, I'm backing William Howard Taft up on this one.
Is that who you're voting for this year?
Everybody should write in William Howard Taft. Because he was a thick boy. And you know, here's the good thing. He lived to 72 years old.
That's a good life.
So if he was over 300 pounds, that tells you right there that don't listen to all these weight loss commercials and Ozempic and all
don't
that.
listen to scientists.
He also had a stellar mustache.
Oh, handsome as hell.
He was great.
Yeah. Bring him back.
Well,
I'm sure president of the early 20th century, I'm sure it wasn't all in the up and up.
All right, so it's not that. Here's the thing that this president did that no one did before him, and everybody's done since. And it goes to John Adams, who served much earlier in 1797 to 1801. He's the first president that wore pants.
The boom was so booming.
So here's the thing. All the presidents before him wore these kind of leggings that they tucked socks into. If you ever look at those pictures of every president, there's not that many presidents before him, by the way.
Wasn't it just
Washington?
Yeah.
And I think Jefferson?
I don't think so. I think Adams was number 2.
Let's see. Order of presidents. I'm sorry we're doing this.
Yeah, John Adams was the second one.
Oh, okay.
But that's still, George Washington wasn't wearing pants?
No.
Was he Winnie the Pooh?
He was Winnie the Pooh in it all the time. So John Adams wore full pants. George Washington wore these like kind of knee things, and he tucked them in. Now, George Washington was a strapping guy. He was 6'4" and 1/4. I don't know if you know that.
I did not.
He was a big guy. For that time, he was huge. He was monstrous. And John Adams was not. He was more like a Taft guy. He's a short, thick boy. He wasn't 300, but he was around that range.
He had that famous Taft body type.
Yeah. But this brings up the question to me. Like, would you trust or have more trust if Biden walked out with some Zubas on Some Zubaz? Like, what pants do you trust a president in?
I don't trust a president in Zubaz. I don't trust a president in shorts. Can you imagine if Biden came out and looked like he was in Good Charlotte and was wearing like baggy Volcom cargo shorts?
Well, you don't remember this, but Clinton used to go jogging in those real, like, my balls are almost out jogging shorts.
Is that the brand? My balls are almost out?
Yeah, look it up. Balls are almost out. Just go to the Vans website. They probably bought them.
Yeah.
And they own it
There's
now.
a merger. A bunch of people lost their jobs.
Yeah. But Clinton used to go jogging like in these, oh my God, they were embarrassingly short, thin, like fluttery jogging shorts.
I don't remember that. That's interesting.
Because he was always eating McDonald's fries. So people were like, he was heavy, even though he really wasn't that heavy compared to like today. But he went jogging all the time to show like, hey, I work out. I'm just a little thick. I can't help it. Yeah.
Because I would think presidents fall under the same category that Italian mafia leaders, Dons, fall under because they don't wear shorts. And if you remember in the first episode of The Sopranos, there's a scene where Tony wears shorts.
Yes.
And he got a call, James Gandolfini did, from a real-life mafia member saying, hey, we don't do that. Don't ever wear shorts again.
And they actually worked that into the show.
They did.
When Carmine from New York said, Dons don't wear shorts.
That's right.
I know. And then Tony was like, just almost had a panic attack over that.
I have breaking news on the text line, Brian.
Oh, no.
We talked about how we've had the relatives of Evel Knievel and Dick Butkus listen to the show.
Yeah.
Adam from Palatine checked in. His wife is related to President Taft.
No! No way! Holy crap!
God, this show reaches everybody. This is fantastic.
Can he call up or she call up in the next break? Can we get him
I'll
on,
see what I can do.
Let's get him on the phone and see if people, when she goes to like a Papa Roach show, always bring up, did your great-great-grandfather get stuck in a toilet?
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
21 Pilots tickets coming up a little over a half hour away at 7:20. It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Now, we did the fact that makes your brain go. That stated that John Adams was the first president to wear full pants because George Washington wore like pantaloons and like it's like knickers stuffed in the socks. It got into a little bit of a president conversation where we talked about Bill Clinton's balls almost out shorts.
Yeah, that's right.
Which a listener just sent a picture on the text line, and now she can't unsee it. I'm sorry I took you down that path, but some people aren't old enough to remember those shorts, and they were terrible.
That's too bad.
They're terrible on people running around in Chicago. I don't know why they're invented. I know they're probably really comfortable, but keep your balls in there. It's just, God.
We don't have a lot of rules around here, but keep your balls in there is one of them.
Yeah, it's America here in Chicago, freedom, but just don't wear those. They're not a good look they're not a good look at all. Then it led to Case bringing up, wasn't it the President Taft that got stuck in a bathtub? And I go, I don't know that. Never heard that story, but it turns out it was fake news. That he was big man, he was a thick boy. Now, Adam checked in and said his wife's related to Taft, which is the power of this radio show. Evel Knievel's granddaughter, Dick Butkus' niece.
Yep.
And now we bring Adam from Palatine in, who's married to a woman whose great uncle was President Taft. Welcome in, Adam. Ahoy.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
It's going great. So, how is the relation? Is it a great uncle?
Yeah, I believe that's the case. I mean, I never really asked. She just told me she was related to him.
Wait a minute. You're on the first or second or third date, and she brings that up, and you don't ask any more information?
We were just going through a list of people that were famous that we were related to.
And she threw that one out there?
Yeah.
And then you didn't ask any follow-up questions?
I may have. We've been together for over a decade. That was a long time ago.
Well, I hope you bring it up today.
Yeah, please.
We want to follow.
Okay.
We want to follow up tomorrow at 6:44 a.m. I want you to call back after you get this information. Maybe take your wife to a nice lunch, and then talk about, the relationship to William Howard Taft, a former president.
You got it.
All right. Now, did she ever bring up the story about how he was stuck in a bathtub?
No, unfortunately, that never came up. She doesn't have the Taft. She never had the Taft name, so I don't think it was ever brought up to her.
Huh. Okay. Because I just was curious if that kind of thing followed her. You know what I mean? I guess her name isn't Taft, so my scenario of going to a ticket window to see Papa Roach and the person saying, hey, wasn't it your great uncle that got stuck in a bathtub? And she's like, oh.
Not this again.
Not this again.
Yeah, no, that situation never came up. I assume because she didn't have the name.
Yeah. You guys don't have Secret Service, do you? You have a protection crew?
No.
Oh.
That's too bad.
That is too bad.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
It would be nice, especially going to see Papa Roach.
Exactly.
To have Secret Service clear the way for you to get to the front row would be really nice.
We have Tafts in the building. Everybody clear the way.
They're big, you know?
Yeah, they're big people.
Well, listen, Adam, I appreciate you calling in. Please go to lunch with your wife. Do something nice for her today. And then ask her all kinds of questions about Taft, about the bathtub situation. And he lived to 72 years old.
Yeah, if she feels shame because her great uncle allegedly got stuck in a bathtub, that can follow people throughout life. I wouldn't want her to feel shame for that.
Did your wife change her name to get away from the Taft name?
Is she ashamed of the Taft presidency? These are all questions we need to know, Adam, okay?
Yeah, did she ever get any kind of special privileges being, I guess, what's a great uncle? Is that a grand niece?
Sure.
I guess?
Yeah, I know she never got any special privilege or anything, and she didn't change her name. She comes from, basically, there's just a lot of women in that family.
Oh, my man. I didn't know Taft was putting it down like that. I love it when you call me Big Papa.
He only makes the ladies. Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. So this has been something that's been fascinating me since I heard about it the first time, that when the cicadas are coming, it's the biggest cicada infection of Illinois ever in our lifetimes, like 224 years.
Do you think this is a Paul Revere, sort of the cicadas are coming type scenario?
Well, I definitely think there's more level of concern that should be there than is not. They're trying to brush it off and saying they come up. Every 17 years, they lay some eggs. Well, they have sex. They lay some eggs, and then they die.
That's a cool life.
I mean...
That's how I'm trying to be this summer.
People say they want a simpler life.
Yeah.
That's pretty simple.
Try being a cicada for a day. Walk a mile in their shoes.
Yeah, in all their shoes. They have like 8 legs or something.
I would think so.
They look like little dinosaurs, but they're coming out, and... we've talked about the problems and the way to solve it. The problems are they're going to be everywhere. You're going to shovel them off your sidewalk, the shells, because caterpillars like to eat them. So this is good for the caterpillars.
When's the last time you saw a caterpillar?
I can't remember. Since I was a kid.
Forgot about those guys.
I know I live in the city, but they still got to exist somewhere in the city. There's some grass here.
I haven't seen a caterpillar since Obama was in office. When's the last time I saw a caterpillar?
I don't think you even saw one then. I think your nostalgia is remembering that you saw a caterpillar.
I was thinking with rose-colored glasses.
Yeah. Text in 312-591-8300. When's the last time you saw a caterpillar?
Okay, so explain that. What's their relationship to cicadas?
They like to eat them.
Oh,
and,
okay.
and they can actually get them. They can grab them. Maybe they go like, hey, it's my friend the cicada. And they come up to them and go, oh, cool, I haven't seen you in 17 years.
Yeah, dap them up.
And then they die.
Yeah.
They eat them. They eat their face.
Wow.
Yeah.
They eat their face.
Yeah. And so there's going to be all these shells everywhere. That's what you're going to shovel off your sidewalks, your porches, in the burbs, wherever. They're going to be everywhere.
So not the cicada itself, but the shell. They're going to be dead by the time we get to them.
Oh, cicadas eat them like lobster. Like they just shell them out.
Caterpillars eat them like lobster.
Or caterpillars eat the cicadas like that.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. All right, good info.
Yeah, some other information just to keep you up to date on this whole situation is that I just said lobster. Well, the FDA warns you, for people out there that want to possibly eat a cicada, if you have a seafood allergy, don't. Because they have that same kind of effect of eating lobster if you have a seafood allergy. They're I guess, a land crustacean.
Okay, that makes sense.
So don't eat them. I don't want to eat them. Caterpillars do. Maybe I've never heard of a caterpillar with a seafood allergy. Let alone seeing one in the last 20 years.
I would like to eat a cicada.
No, you wouldn't. Well, okay, that's our bit then.
That's fine. I'd like to try it.
Would you eat a live cicada?
Oh, I don't know. Is there a difference? Because I don't want like a day-old cicada. I don't want like Jimmy John's leftover bread.
Oh,
you know what I
no.
mean? I want it fresh.
So you'll eat that thing in your hand, crawling around. You'll just eat it.
I don't want to knock it before I try it.
Oh well.
That it might be like a rare meat, Like some steakhouses only have they're like, here's our Brazilian cut. This is a big deal. We only get this once a year.
Yeah.
The cicadas might be good. We just don't know it.
Cicada tartare.
Yeah, exactly.
Questions coming in. 815. Can dogs eat cicadas? Well, they do have a crunchy shell. So I don't know if it gets caught in your dog's throat, whereas the caterpillars know how to eat them and then leave the shell behind. I don't think
they just eat their face.
Yeah, dogs they just go at it. They're like, and then I wouldn't trust your dog eating them.
We're getting texts about the last time people saw caterpillars For some people, it's been since February. We're in April now. They went a whole month without seeing a caterpillar.
I haven't seen one. I'm telling you, I haven't seen one in probably at least a decade, maybe more. Now, 630 checked in. I work for the Forest Preserve. I see caterpillars every year regularly.
Wow.
So, sees them all the time.
Is that a perk of the job? Do you think that's listed? Like when you apply, it's like, hey, just so you know, a lot of caterpillars out here.
Oh, God, another caterpillar coming by. What a peaceful job that sounds like.
Forest Preserve?
Yeah.
No, I disagree.
Why is
I
that?
think you'd go crazy.
Why?
What do you do?
Well, call in, sir, if you're in work for the Forest Preserve, because I just think you sit and look at nature. That's probably not
But that's
right.
not a real job.
He's
That's a hobby.
Getting paid.
I probably not much.
Who cares?
I'd love to know if the Forest Preserve guys were cleaning up, if we're just in the wrong industry.
You look up salaries of Forest Preserve people. But I think it seems like you go sit in the park and enjoy things. Maybe you got to roust people from trying to have sex in the parking lot. I don't know if that's your job. I'm not sure. But I'd love for somebody from the Forest Preserve to call up the Park Service of Chicagoland, wherever you work in a park. Let me know. I want to know all about that job.
So, Brian, your wife, Megan, she's a really good baker, correct?
Correct.
Somebody texted in 630. They said the last time cicadas came out, there was a recipe in the Tribune for a cicada pie crust. That sounds like something we should try.
It'd probably be crunchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't like pie.
I only like blueberry pie. So if we can have blueberry pie with cicada crust, I'll try it.
What's gone wrong in your life to where you only like blueberry pie?
All the rest of them suck.
I disagree.
Unless it's a chocolate pie, like an ice cream kind of chocolate.
Okay.
Like you get it Dunkin'. They have those pies in there.
Okay.
Baskin Robbins, the combo ones. You could do that. All right. I'm not telling you how to eat pie. I'm just saying. But here's some of the other weird things about the cicadas coming. Apparently, they pee really strong. So I've talked about this yesterday a little bit, that they can pee. They'll pee on us when they get there. But they're actually the strongest urinators in the animal kingdom. Cicadas are.
The strongest?
The strongest. It shoots. And like by comparison to their body size, it's way better than us. And I thought I could really pee. I thought I could, like if I thought I've taken bark off a tree before. Like I thought I could really go. But apparently cicadas are way ahead of us.
That's
on that.
the video we got to get. I'm sure our digital media specialist, Zach, has like a slow motion, like 60 frames per second camera that he can get a cicada peeing. And then we see what kind of damage he does compared to you.
Oh, I thought you wanted to get me running after a cicada trying to pee on it and drown it. Because they can probably move a little faster than me with my pants down. I don't know.
Wait, are you in order to pee on a cicada, you have to start with your pants down?
Yeah.
You have to,
I got to get comfortable in the environment first.
Silly me. I'm sorry, that was a stupid question.
Like literally, they put humans and elephants to shame with their urination, what they can do.
Do you ever? This is gross, but I think we're in a tree of trust here, where everybody is going to know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Do you ever try to do trick shots with your pee and like stand really far back and see how far you can go?
Of course, I've tried that.
Yeah, no, it's like NBA All-Star Weekend in my bathroom.
Yeah.
I'm doing like 360s.
Oh, in your bathroom? I mean, like outside.
Oh no, I do it indoors.
No, I miss the toilet regularly, and it's not a fun way. Also, here's a concerning thing about them. That also, just more about the cicadas that are coming. They're being ravaged by STDs that turns them into zombies.
I'm sorry. Explain.
So there is a fungus that it's not like herpes, but it's like that for them, but it's not called herpes. It's called xylem.
Sounds way more deadly than herpes.
It sounds like it. So this thing goes right inside the cicadas. Now, I guess it's because they come out to bang. That's what they do. And then they die. But if one lives long enough to bang somebody else, it gets transmitted. It's going to kill 10% of the billions that are on their way to Illinois.
Wow.
Yeah, so it turns them into zombies where their private parts fall off. Their only reason for living is to bang. And this would not be funny if it was a human disease. This might jump sometime. There might be a little mutation. So they're alive still, but they're basically like the Walking Dead. Like they're walking around as these zombie cicadas with no private parts. And that's what's going to happen to 10% of them.
Oh, that's like an epidemic. 10% is a lot.
Well, there's going to be billions, so it's going to be millions that get this.
That have their
Millions.
junk. You're just going to see cicada junk scattered all over the streets.
Oh, it was bad enough with the shells, but now cicada junk? Good Lord.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Much like the cicadas, some 41's going to go away for 17 years and then come back. As they've said that this is the last tour of the album, but it's lasting for like 2 or 3 years. They'll go away.
The cicada said that?
No, I think some 41. Derek Whibley said that from some
Oh,
41.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So we talked yesterday on the show with Kenzie about how she's probably going to experience this more than me and Case in the city out in Elgin, and they're going to kind of have an orgy on her porch. And the way to stop that, at least they want to go on your trees and bang. That's what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize they wanted privacy.
Well,
I mean, don't you?
I mean,
Yeah, but the cicadas they're different. This is a group orgy. Who wants privacy during a group orgy?
It's a good question.
maybe they only want the people that they trust of the cicadas that are having sex with, like, let's say it's 20 of them.
Do you think they broke off into cliques the last 17 years?
Yeah, they know, like, Marty's going to go out and tell everybody, Now, you could put
Marty's a dirty bird.
Yeah, you could put foil on the bottom of your trees. It will stop. They slip, and they can't climb up your tree, so they'll move into the neighbor's yard and keep going.
Don't they fly?
It's weird. They do have some wings, but I don't think they can fly a long distance.
So they're walking all the way here?
Well, they're coming out of the ground.
Like my ground?
Yeah, they're under your ground right now.
I thought they were all coming from a specific area.
What, like south of the border?
Yeah, like I thought that they were like
Kentucky.
the cicadas are going to rise up. And then so I was like, well, what's the tinfoil for?
Yeah, they're literally under your house right now and under your yard. They were there before you bought the house.
We had a lot of landscaping done. Are you sure they're still there?
They're deeper than that.
Oh, they're deeper than like landscaping? Like if
Yeah.
I planted a bush, they're lower than that?
Yeah, they're lower than the bush.
So once again, no wings. They're just going to crawl out?
They're going to crawl out, have sex, and die. And lay an egg and then die.
How long are they going to crawl for?
A
if
while.
they're that deep, they're probably crawling right now.
It says 17 years, and they're supposed to come out probably April, May, June-ish time. There's not an exact date, but once they start coming, it's not going to stop.
But how do they get that far into the ground?
That's
They
a good
don't
question.
have claws.
They do. Well, they do look like little dinosaurs. They look
They do,
weird.
yeah.
They do have like weird spikes.
But like think about how sometimes I can't get my shovel into the ground. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
How I don't understand.
You don't understand how they. Well, listen. I think they're more adapted to being underground than you are. No offense.
Not under the ground, but just digging in it. Have you ever dug a hole? It is really hard.
Oh, it sucks. I worked at a golf course where I had to dig holes all the time.
Yeah, it's hard. And you're telling me this little bug?
I
They
took.
probably spent 17 years just getting to where they're supposed to go.
Yeah. I took.
Like, oh, we got to turn around?
I took breaks at the golf course on one hole.
I have a question. Why were you digging holes at the golf course? Wouldn't you want to fill them in?
No, because you have to fill holes for like sand traps or something. You have to make a new
Those
sand
are
trap.
man-made?
Yeah.
Oh.
They're not natural.
I never
Natural
thought about
sand
that.
trap?
I've never thought about that.
Yeah. 1,000%.
Huh.
So, Kenzie also brought up how they have this sexually transmitted disease that's going to kill about 1 billion of them, where their private parts fall off, and then they walk around like zombies and are even harder to kill.
How did they even get a sexually transmitted disease if they've been in the ground for 17 years?
Very good question. I guess they come
And
up.
if you pop out early,
Well-
like for a late night, they're troublemaking cicadas.
Well, if they go out and have sex, and before they die, they have sex with somebody else, and they have the disease, then they pass it on, and then so on and so on.
So if they have sex once, it doesn't make them die.
Correct. There's a time limit, then they die.
Oh, so wow, there's gonna be a lot of action going on. I thought they banged once and died.
No, I mean, that's typically what they will just from the time frame, but if they happen to be prolific, then they will spread this disease, the sexually transmitted disease.
Yeah, it's sort of like the 2-minute drill in football. They're not cuddling afterwards. They're going from one to the next. It's a no-huddle offense with the cicadas.
Yeah.
Oh God, they really are just like teenagers. Like this. They waited 17 years. They're horny. There's no technique. It's horrible.
Yeah. It's going to be a disappointment for a lot of female cicadas out there, that's for sure.
I know. She's like, I waited 17 years for what? I'm like, amen, girl.
Let me ask you something else, Kenzie, because you have a garden. This was another side question in our conversation. When's the last time you saw a caterpillar?
Last time I saw a caterpillar,
Because you're out rural in Elgin, and I
I
figured,
would assume last spring has been a recent activity.
but you can't remember, can you? You can't remember seeing one really, can you?
I mean, Brian, when's the last time you saw an ant?
Oh, I saw one the other day.
Did you timestamp that?
Yeah, I did. I saw one.
I'm like, oh well, this can't be something I forget.
Oh, no, I see ants and rats when I go out in the backyard.
No, give me a date.
I just want to. Can you actually remember seeing a caterpillar?
I know I've seen them.
it just feels like they're not around anymore, and they're going to eat a lot of the cicadas.
Do you have a chance of a lot of butterflies near you?
I've seen a butterfly recently.
Okay, well, he was a caterpillar.
Yeah. That's right. But I mean, I want to see him in the caterpillar
That's
form.
right.
Yeah, I know. I forgot
I
about
know.
that. The butterfly.
It's a tough one.
It's a rub, the butterfly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think there's not a lot of caterpillars anymore.
I'm with you, Brian.
I
don't think they're out there.
I think they're
You
gone.
don't think they're out there? There's tons of kinds of caterpillars.
Like what?
They got the really fuzzy one. That's what I like. And then the long green one, which is the classic with the red head.
Yeah.
Like on the cover of the book, The Hungry
Yes,
Caterpillar?
that one's the OG caterpillar, if you will. I'm more of a fan of thick and fuzzy.
Do they have, so there's thick and fuzzy, do they have naked caterpillars, like a naked mole rat?
I think the green ones are naked. I don't think that's fur.
You're probably right.
Well, yeah, they had
I think that's skin.
Yeah, that light
Or if you
hair
will.
they
It's probably
had.
not skin, but
Yeah.
like their skin.
Yeah. Well, it's all coming. They're coming, literally. The caterpillars and the
Oh,
cicadas.
God. That's disgusting.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
The Q101 Morning Crew. Sports.
Well, it's a tale of two sides of town and two different kinds of baseball. North side yesterday. Let's start there. What a wonderful, historic home opener for your Chicago Cubs.
Very fun.
Very fun. And
Brought my baby.
And the rain held off.
I know. It was great. He had a little water-resistant suit on. We didn't even need it. Well, actually, when we walked to the car, he needed it. But besides that,
It rained right at the end, kind of the end, and then really poured after that.
we got to the car before the pouring, which was very exciting.
Well done.
Yes.
So wait, well, he was wearing a wetsuit? What was the baby wearing?
No, like kind of like a snowsuit. Like he had like a little North Face like snowsuit. So like had like the, so it was water resistant.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's so cute.
I didn't know North Face made baby products.
They do.
Oh,
And he has it.
they clean up because they only last like a week, and then they get bigger. They can't fit it anymore. So you got to buy another one.
That's a good point.
Oh,
Well, no,
God.
it's true. This is a one-season snowsuit.
Yeah. Well,
But it was worth it because he needed it at the home. He needed something solid.
Well, you were the one that told me about the first game, which I haven't taken Harper to a game yet. So this year we're doing that. Obviously, that the
How
first.
did my baby make it to a game
Hey, you know
before
what?
Harper?
I don't know.
And you live right there.
Right in the shadow of it. No, I'm a little more weirded out. But I'm afraid she's gonna hit me with a baseball. I just can't stop that thought.
They got the nets now, though.
I know, but they go over the net sometimes.
Also, aren't you going to be there?
No, Brian was
Are you just
looking
going
at
to
dropping
drop her off? What do you mean she's going to get hit by a baseball? Are you going to make any effort
Well,
to
I
catch
picture,
the baseball or move her?
I picture my little league self throwing the baby aside and running for the ball. You know,
That's a separate issue.
I know. I can't trust myself with a baby at a baseball game. That's all I'm saying. I can't do it.
Yikes.
Even if Megan's there too, I just can't do it. But this year, she's old enough now.
You got a hot dog in one hand. You're clenching a beer with your teeth. You got Harper in the other.
Can I just have some alone time at the baseball game? That's all I'm looking for.
Oh, so that's what it really is. You don't want Harper to ruin baseball for you.
That's it. Now you got to the point of it.
Jeez.
Be like me. Go to a game by yourself. That's what I'm doing on Friday.
We're going to talk about that later in the week, Kenzie. He's going to the Cubs game by himself, Case says, on Friday.
Oh, my husband's going to be there with my other son. So have fun.
I'm sure I'll see him.
Oh, do you want to see Shohei? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
I thought you were going to say he was going by himself too. And then-
Oh, he goes by himself all the time.
well, Case, there you go.
I'd hang out with him. He's a nice guy.
Yeah. He goes by himself a lot.
You got a friend in him.
That's really nice.
You got a friend in him.
I mean, don't talk a lot during the game. Trust me.
I have the same rule.
I've
It's
made
okay.
that mistake.
No, I have the same rule. We'd actually get along quite well.
Does he wear the old Walkman headphones and fills out the scorecard during the game?
Yesterday, you want to know what happened at the home opener? Can I just tell you what happened?
Sure.
So we work the whole time, okay? Then I get the baby down, and I was like wearing the baby in the carrier of there, and I hadn't eaten since like 6 a.m., right? So I'm starving. So we wait for the opening ceremonies to be done. He goes, "Do you want some food?" I go, "Yes, I'm so hungry." And I'm taking care of the baby, right? I'm like, "Please." He goes downstairs and comes up a few minutes later, and I'm like, "Oh, awesome." Like, it'd been about 10 minutes. I'm like, sometimes it takes way longer than that, right? And I'm all excited. He goes, 15-minute wait for hot dogs. Sorry.
Oh.
And sits down. Like, he decided to not wait. And I go, "So we're just not going to eat?" He's like, "Well, maybe in a little bit, but like, I'm not going to wait 15 minutes." And I'm like, what is going on?
Well,
You
you're,
already
missing,
were
you're
there.
missing the game at that point. I wouldn't want to wait either.
But in the meantime, 7 minutes would have passed of that 15-minute wait for the hot dog, and it would have been closer to
Well,
getting the hot dog.
I just was like, what if you ordered and then kind of walked out and walked up the stairs while you waited for it
Yeah.
and watched? I was devastated. I just sat there and he goes, "What, are you mad?" I'm like, Just hungry. I mean, when are we going to do this again?
Yeah.
Like in 15 minutes? Or like, what's the plan?
Well, it certainly was a game not to be missed as Shota Imanaga pitched 6 innings in his debut, struck out 9 Rockies batters while giving up just 2 hits and 0 runs. So he made Cubs history, becoming the first pitcher to do that. Strike out at least 9 batters, allow 2 or fewer hits, allow 0 runs in their debut for the Northsiders. And Kenzie, I was telling Case earlier, I loved his energy, like fist pumping off the mound. Like it brought so much fun to the game.
He's a fun guy.
Yeah, he is.
I really like him.
Oh, I said the same thing. He's my guy.
He's so likable. It is unbelievable.
Unless he starts pitching bad. But right now, it's all good. Right now, everything's fine. It's great.
He'd still have a great personality.
He really would.
Great
Now,
personality stands the test. Good pitching or not.
on a tale of 2 sides of town in the same weather, the White Sox had rain delays. Their game was a little bit later, to be fair. And the game was just ugly. They had 3 hits in the whole game. 9-0 they lose to the Rockies. But, Kenzie, this is what happened. As I said, I'll play some audio for you.
They lost to the Braves. I wish they lost to the
I
Rockies.
was like, wait.
Oh, my bad.
The Rockies went over there?
They wanted another beating, and then they ended up winning a game. No, it was the Braves. And so in the 8th inning,
Yeah, in the 8th inning, there was a rain delay at the conclusion of the top of the 8th. So there was a delay before the White Sox were able to hit. There ended up being another delay after the 8th inning where the game was called off. But in between that, the White Sox had one more chance to bat, and this is what happened.
well, they couldn't find the first base coach, so they could not continue the game. Here's the Braves announcers talking about the situation.
So how about this? We have a delay because there is no first base coach right now for the Chicago White Sox, which is quite incredible.
Do you think he was in line for that s'mores?
He went up to the 300 level.
Well, there's a delay. He's like, I'm just going to go grab a little snack.
Over your hustle.
Here's more of the audio.
Something usually happens at a Little League game. Supposed to be Jason Bourgeois. So apparently he's not down there. They're yelling, anybody.
If you hear the guys lightly in the background, they go, is anybody working here? These are baseball managers. They go on.
And coach first base.
Can Wiley Ballard coach first base?
I didn't know that was a rule that you had to have a first base coach.
Yeah.
I have never. This is a new one. I've never seen this.
So they're going to send out somebody.
Meanwhile, Tyler Matzik is waiting to enter the game here in the bottom of the 8th after Dylan Lee pitched before the rain delay.
It's pretty brutal that somebody has not just grabbed a helmet and gone out there.
What is going on? Who ended up out there?
Well, they keep going. Finally, somebody gets out there, but you'll hear the rest of the audio.
Like why this is taking so long. We know how deep staffs run. There's so many coaches. And the White Sox are just standing around looking at each other.
Isn't there like playing rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah, like I don't want to do it. I want to get wet.
Staring contest, first one to blink has to do first.
God.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.